Minneapolis, a Catholic school mass, stained glass windows, and children in the pews. Police say the shooter is dead. 2 kids didn't make it, unfortunately. And then the mayor said it wasn't time for prayers while those kids were literally praying. Let's go and start here, y'all.
Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship. This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy. As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community. We stand with these families and with this parish. We will continue to be here for you. With that, the investigation is obviously in its preliminary stages, and I will attempt to take some questions to provide further information.
Chief, what can you tell us about the suspect in this case? How old was he? Any kind of motivation? Any notes or any other information that were left behind?
So we were looking, the question was, what can be said about the shooter? We believe it is one suspect, a sole shooter. We believe he is deceased. He is in his early 20s, does not have an extensive known criminal history. And we are looking through information left behind to try and determine some type of motive. Yeah.
How many kids attend the school? How many kids at the school?
How many children? I don't have an exact, the question was how many children at the school. There were dozens of children inside the mass at the time. I don't have an exact count. The children have been relocated into the school, which is where their families are reunifying with them. Reg.
2 children, just 8 and 10, killed where they sat, man. 14 other children were wounded. Families still waiting in hospital hallways as we speak. Officers didn't just respond, they ran into the pews filled with prayers to pull kids to safety. But this is the kind of scar a community doesn't walk away from. The story is beyond heartbreaking, man. But beyond the conference podium, the pain was written on their faces, man. Parents clinging to the only thing they could still hold on to.
Of this investigation, that part of this scene, and not so much of dealing with the active shooter, because again, we have learned the active shooter is dead, but all of this aside, these children leaving, the parents being allowed behind the crime tape to go get their students, tells us that a lot of the threat has tampered down at this point, that they're allowing people to leave to enter and leave the scene. Of this investigation, that part of this scene, and not so much of
You know, here's what statistics never capture. Trembling arms around a child who made it out. Tears soaking into their children's hair, man. Like, the anchor says the shooter is gone, but fear still definitely lingers. Healing doesn't start when the shooting stops, rather. And while parents search for words, city leaders tried to find their own.
Right in front of the microphone, let's listen.
There are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation. We are a Minneapolis family. But to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have, every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country. I'm so deeply saddened, and I'm so sorry to the families that I know are suffering right now. My ask is to everyone, stand by them. Love them. These families have forever been changed, and we've all been changed with.
You know, the mayor said this isn't the time for thoughts and prayers, but, you know, here's the thing. Prayer wasn't the weapon. It was what those children were doing when evil found them. Faith didn't fail them, violence did. Compassion and action don't cancel each other. They're supposed to walk side by side. But you can clearly see that it's eating him up as well. His sentiment is shared by the community. Yet, in the scramble for policy, the language itself became a fracture.
It, of course, makes me think about guns and all the work we've done to ban these automatic rifles and to do something when it comes to the background checks and everything, and we keep getting thwarted. We were able to pass a limited measure on a bipartisan basis, but not enough to stop something like this. And it just makes you think about that as well without knowing the details about how he got that gun, if the gun was legal, what kind of gun it was. But it was clearly one of these automatic rifles to be able to shoot that many kids so fast.
Earlier this year, of course, I think about the attacker who shot 2 Minnesota state lawmakers in their homes near Minneapolis.
It, of course, makes me...
Now, this post comes with the caption that she's blaming Republican. Senator Amy spoke of automatic rifles. Police hadn't said that, you know, accuracy matters. Because when details falter, trust frays. In moments like this, words can either build a bridge for grieving families or widen the distance between them and their leaders. While politics churned, disturbing glimpses of the shooter's mind actually surfaced. These actually photos, I don't even want to expand beyond what we have right here, but obviously you see that this is what appears to be a target range, a paper that he used. Right here is something, I don't even want to show it, but it says, kill Donald Trump across here. Yeah, and then you can see all this type of stuff right here. Authorities are reviewing the video and images of weapons scribbled with phrases like, "Where is your God?" and "Kill Donald Trump." Until confirmed, we treat this as alleged, but if it's real, it paints a portrait, not a policy failure alone, but of a soul unraveling in darkness, lashing out at faith, at children, at the very idea of hope. Meanwhile, the weight of what happened was carried not just by the families, but by an army of responders.
I can't fully see the front of the church. Again, it is directly to my right over here. It is blocked by, like I said, 5 ambulances are here on the other side of several squad cars, sheriff squad car, police car. There is I'm going to get out of the way here. There is a massive police and other law enforcement presence that is making its way towards this portion of the building, which again is the school portion of the building. And, it's unclear exactly what they are doing, but they are coming down here in force. I don't know if these are continuing to respond to something or if these are people who had responded who are now no longer needed where they were. It is difficult to say, but you can see the number of law enforcement of all types that has responded here. We see Homeland Security, the presence here. That's what you see, HSI on the back of the vests that these folks are wearing. That's Federal Homeland Security. That is part of this. There's ATF as well. There's the FBI, in addition to Minneapolis Police, Park Police. Here comes some more heavily armed Minneapolis police officers as well, going with this. Again, they are heading down to the east of this, so towards Lyndale Avenue. So it's hard to say exactly what they are doing now as part of this response or post-response. Certainly, though, again, we'll be getting an update here shortly from the main media staging area, which is just 1 block to my east, in front of the sanctuary here at Annunciation.
Thank you. Rob Olson out there in front of the Annunciation School and Church in South Minneapolis, where law enforcement's been responding to that active shooter threat. But again, we understand that the shooter is dead and that there is no immediate threat to the public. And it does look like we have some new information in here this morning just about the situation. Amy,
we do.
You've got that here.
I do. Reuters is reporting that they've been told by the DOJ, the Department of Justice, that 3 people are dead and 1 is the shooter. So the Department of Justice, the Federal Justice Department, is telling Reuters news agency that there are 3 people who are dead, including the shooter. And we also were told by the AP that 5 children were being treated as well. So those, as far as numbers go, that is what we have.
Excuse me, y'all. FBI, Homeland Security, local police, all conversion. 3 lives gone, including the suspect. For the agencies, it's evidence and files, but for the families, it's empty chairs at dinner, man. And with numbers like this spread, every update sounds heavier than the last, y'all.
Shooter call, we now know that the shooter is dead. Officers are reporting 20 victims. A man dressed in all black and armed with a rifle was reported at the scene. EMS has requested a mass casualty response, and fire crews are bringing in additional resources. As I said earlier, mass casualty does not mean deaths. It just means victims of some kind. Fire crews are bringing in additional resources. Initial information indicated that the suspect shooter is no longer a threat. That we know to be true now. Out of an abundance of caution, they are asking just people to stay out of that area because there's a lot of work to be done, to complete this investigation and move through what they need to do this morning.
And of course, one of our big questions going
to shooter call, we now know that the shooter is
mass casualty response. Means doctors rushing, blood donors waiting, phone calls unanswered. It's the phrase hospitals dread. Parents can't process and communities never forget, especially when it happens to in the very week these kids were supposed to be coloring homework, not filling out victim reports. And the hardest part, this city had already been bleeding before this day, y'all.
Morning, we are following several shootings over the past day in Minneapolis, including one breaking from overnight. We do have new details just in throughout this morning. One person is dead, another is injured. This is after a shooting near the State Theater. Police say they have non-life-threatening injuries. We do want to take a look at that scene over at 8th and Hennepin. Happened just after 2 in the morning. We've seen shell casings on the ground, a heavy police presence. Minneapolis police say a suspect opened fire on a group and then ran. No arrests have been made. So this morning's shooting marks 11 people shot in the city since yesterday afternoon, and police are working to figure out if these shootings are related.
Including a mass shooting that left 1 person dead and 6 injured.
We will not stop until we can make every block in this city safe for all of our residents.
And of course, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara at a press conference addressing the violence.
So this mass shooting happened just off of Lake Street and just steps from Cristo Way High School. School officials didn't comment on the shooting, but police say all of the victims are adults.
The shooter still on the run this morning. Shayla Reeves joins us from police headquarters outside. Shayla, how's the community reacting to this violence?
Well, one man told us his wife was scared and he and his family took shelter in the basement after hearing those gunshots. This all unfolded around 1:30 Tuesday afternoon, just east of Interstate 35. That's where police say a suspected shooter hopped out of a vehicle and fired about 30 rounds from a high-powered rifle. It happened at Clinton and East 29th Street. Bullets struck 6 men and a woman. We're told one man did not survive. Investigators took pictures and collected evidence trying to piece together exactly what happened. One woman says her son works near the shooting location.
It's changed. I grew up in this area. I could walk down the street, and I don't want to get teary, but I could walk down the street. I didn't have to worry about needles on the ground, although there's none here. I didn't have to worry about substance users.
Now, the woman went on to say she was initially concerned when she heard about the shooting, but says she appreciated the efforts of police. Right now, we're told at least one of the shooting victims was targeted, and at least 3 of those victims, Police Chief O'Hara says, had some very serious injuries, but those 3 are expected to survive. At this time, the search continues for that shooter. Police telling us they're pursuing strong leads. We'll continue to follow this case and bring you new information as it's released. Heather and AJ.
Shayla Reeves live for us outside Minneapolis Police Headquarters. Shayla, thanks for that update. We're also still working to learn if another shooting just blocks away is connecting to the mass shooting. We know 1 person died near 27th Street and 3rd Avenue South. And new details just into our newsroom. Police now say a 2nd person may have been injured. This 2nd shooting happened just after 8 p.m. yesterday. Police continuing to investigate.
11 shot across Minneapolis in just a day. Tim Walsh, what's going on, man? This is what it feels like when tragedy isn't an interruption, but a rhythm. Families need more than explanations. They need safety. They need leaders who will sit with them in the grief before standing at podiums. Because no statistics brings the child back. Tonight, same thing. We grieve for Minneapolis. We're going to remember those children. We're going to hold those parents in our hearts. And we're going to look in the mirror as a country. Prayer and policy are not enemies. They are both cries for protection, if you will. This ain't about, in terms of the comments, just leave a candle or a praying hand emoji for the children, man. Y'all be safe. Please go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.